everybody. Welcome back to Mask of the Slasher. We're on episode 25, and today we are covering The Beyond.
Oh.
Woohoo! This movie I was introduced to also back in the early 2000s, amongst all the other ones that I was introduced to. Yay me. This is directed by the master, Lucio Fulci. Yep. There's some interesting facts about this movie, and I'm going to go through those really quick, and then we're going to discuss the movie. Anyway, okay, so this movie was released in 1981 in Italy. But not here. Here, it wasn't released until 1983, and it was a cut-down version and didn't have the same music.
Oh.
And that is what is known as the Seven Doors of Death.
Okay.
Now, what's funny about this, by the way, is because it's mentioned in there the seven doors of hell, the seven doors of evil, not the seven doors of death, but yet that's the name they chose. Why wouldn't you go with hell? The original version was not released in the U.S. until 1998.
Dang.
A ding dong dang.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, and the composer?
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you try to say
Fabio Frizzi?
Yeah, we'll go with that. He's cool. He does most of Fulci's stuff, I think. And
right.
Yeah, we're fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to Goblin, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
In the same vein.
Yes. Italian horror music is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
This movie, hopefully you guys have seen it. If you haven't, there is going to be spoilers in this. Sorry about that. But it's not like we ever explain anything so thoroughly that you get the whole gist of the movie.
That's true. True.
Yeah, we're, it's us.
Yeah. You know how we do.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Comment down below. Do you not give a full story either? Yeah. All right. So anyway, this movie is based in Louisiana.
Yeah, and filmed on location, yes?
Yes, it actually was. I tried finding out why he felt like doing this. There's nothing.
Right.
Nothing that's, from the horse's mouth, per se.
Right.
So I'm just like, if anybody knows, let me know.
Yeah.
I'd love to know.
Yeah.
The story goes that in 1927, there was a painter that stayed at this particular hotel, which was called the Seven Doors Hotel.
The Seven Doors of Death Hotel.
Anyway, so yeah, he was staying there in room 36, and the townspeople decided to form a little lynch mob and go after him.
Right.
And, it was because they were accusing him of being a warlock and practicing black magic.
Right.
Nothing ever says why they have this idea. Kind of wish there was a tiny bit more backstory on that. Just a little one. But whatever. And also I find it strange that it's in New Orleans in 1927 that they're accusing him of this.
Right.
I
think that would be like an 1800s kind of situation, not a 1927. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think too. Yeah.
Whatever though, hey.
Very odd.
You do you, boo.
Yeah.
So, he's painting and he's protecting one of the seven doors of hell.
Right.
I want you to know that it's so hard for me not to say the seven dwarves of hell.
Seven dwarves of hell. Here's a question I have.
Okay.
So there's 7 gates of hell, but there are only 3 gates of hell movies.
I know. Where's the other 4?
Right? We don't know.
Maybe he's just tired.
He got tired of it and didn't feel like making 7 movies about the subject.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. It's got to be.
Right.
We know all the facts. So, anyway, so they kill Bro, and they're essentially crucifying him in the basement, which is pretty gross.
Yeah.
Very moist down there. Moist. Probably a lot of mold.
Probably.
Old ass hotel with mold.
Yeah.
So, he gets killed. The kill scenes in this is probably one of the main reasons why I love this movie so much. Aside from the sweet soundtrack, or not soundtrack, but the score.
Yeah.
but the kill stuff is so good and ridiculous.
Yeah, I was gonna say completely absurd.
Yes, I just love it. Absolutely love it. But I think this was probably one of the first movies where I really saw like tacky Italian horror gore.
Yeah,
and I was just like, oh yeah, this is my jam. So I was good with that. Fast forward to 1981. This chick, she inherits the hotel.
Right.
Doesn't know any better. Her name is Liza. She does weird mouth stuff throughout the entire movie. It's very exaggerated. Yeah. And I will say, though, that this movie is dubbed in English.
Right.
Which makes it a little comical. So is some of the signage. Right. The way.
Yes.
What did the one sign say?
for the morgue, it said "Do not entry."
Yeah, do not entry.
Pretty good.
Yep. Do not entry ever.
That's right. Never ever entry.
So yeah, she inherits the hotel, and once again, shit hits the fan.
Yeah, bad stuff happens. The one guy falls off the scaffold.
Yeah.
Which is like the world's largest scaffold.
Yes. Yeah, it was a little dumb.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. That was just like the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
You meet Emily a little bit later on when she's just chilling in the middle of a bridge.
Yeah. Why? Because why not?
Yeah, the world's longest bridge. And she's just out there blind with her seeing eye dog. Does not make sense. And she has got to have the worst caps on her eyes for this movie.
Now, is she a ghost? Or is she just a person that escaped from hell?
That's the thing that never gets answered, really.
Yeah.
I mean, she could just be a spirit, not necessarily a ghost per se, but a spirit that is there to help and keep people away from the house and away from the badness.
Right.
That's the only thing I can think of. But later on, she gets killed by her dog.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So
I guess she's not a spirit.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense.
She's an escapee from hell.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going with. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot the dog kills her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
That's right.
But anyway, yeah. So she inherited this hotel. Things are going crazy. People are dying. I think the first great scene in this is Joe the plumber.
Oh, absolutely.
Which you saw at the beginning of this episode. That little tidbit that was Joe the plumber.
Yeah.
And things don't work out well for him.
No, they don't.
He doesn't get paid at the end of that job.
No.
He's sent there because they've got a leak and the basement's flooded. He goes down there. He's like, oh, I'm going to go check out this watery wall. And he starts knocking down shit. And he just continues going into it. Now, if it were me, no. Yeah. No, I'm like, if anything's ever boarded up, a door blocked, anything, I'm like, let's just leave that. Sorry about your get a sub pump.
Yeah, I also like how he's like the most Italian looking man in the whole movie, and yet he has a southern accent for the dubbing, which I'm assuming they were just doing that because Louisiana or whatever. But
it wasn't even like a Louisiana
right,
South.
Exactly.
It was a Texas South.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, it was overdubbed poorly. But Bro gets his eye gouged out.
Yes.
Fun fact about that eyeball. It's a real eyeball. It's a cow's eyeball.
Yeah.
Thankfully, not a person. But pretty cool.
Yeah.
That you get to see a real squishy eyeball.
Yeah. Fulci did like his eye gouging.
He really does. Yeah. Because the maid gets it later with her little squishy eye situation. And woo. But anyway, so that's like the first good one.
Right.
Now we're at the hospital and we're at the morgue.
Yes.
And Joe the plumber's wife
just walks right in, right into the morgue.
Let's back up for a second. She's with her daughter, who looks like she's about 25 years old, but with pigtails and bad acne.
Supposed to be a little girl,
not a little girl. No. She's too tall to be a little girl. I'm like, you couldn't find somebody a little shorter.
No actual.
Like a little girl just walked down the hallway.
A child actor.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so little girl goes and sits outside on the chair.
Right.
Well, the mom goes in with the suit into the morgue.
Yeah, just walks right in.
Yeah. Now, what's funny about this is that I'm like, okay, if anybody's ever had to deal with a dead person and a funeral, any sort of viewing, you drop off the clothes for them.
Right.
at the funeral home, not
at the morgue.
Not at the morgue, at the hospital of all places. And you sure as hell don't go walking in there and be like, I'm going to be able to put this suit on this big, burly, dead dude.
Right.
Never going to happen.
Right.
I mean, as is when they put suits on dead people, they cut the back open and they just lay it over the person. Fun fact.
Yeah.
So she's in there putting the suit on bro, and suddenly there is an open carafe of acid on the top shelf and it's like an Austin Powers moment of the world's slowest acid dropping ever. And it's got to be like sulfuric acid, something that eats away at people.
Right.
But it's a great
the
great
effects was great once it happened.
Okay, next in the morgue, this is something I noticed, okay, so they have a thing attached to one of the dude's heads, and I don't even know why.
The painter's corpse is in there.
Yeah,
and they've got the
little probe things on them.
Yeah,
why?
Head,
I don't know.
Clearly there's nothing going on there.
No,
I mean,
bro's dead.
He's crusty and mummified.
But it's attached to an oscilloscope.
Yeah. This
is not something that detects brain waves in any. It's electrical.
Well, it says oscilloscope right on the damn thing, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't even cover that up.
No, they couldn't put a little piece of tape on that. And then it's monitoring his heartbeat, though, on top of that. So it's not even like his brain waves.
Well, I think that's what they were going for was brain waves, but when it goes off, it looks like a heartbeat. It sounds like a heartbeat also.
Well, it's what it is. It's a freaking heartbeat. It's Sorry. Small details I just noticed.
It's funny.
Anyway, as we go through this, things just keep happening.
Yeah. The little girl goes into the morgue, sees her mom get the acid poured on her face.
Yeah.
And then apparently she's in there for at least a day. Right?
Yeah, because she's there all the way till the end of the
movie. Because we don't
movie.
really know how much time passes between then and the end of the movie, but at least a day, right?
Yeah.
And there were people in the hospital up to that point. So
and she's just hiding in a corner.
Right, yeah. It's not like she's out of sight, really.
And she had avoided the ooze from her mom. I'm like, eventually that would have made it to her.
Yeah, and where did that ooze go?
That's what I'm saying. If she's sitting on the floor, she would have been soaked in sulfuric acid and would have no ass at this point.
And you'd think it would still be on the floor when they come back to the hospital there and find her. So nobody had to walk through acid. It dried up. Where'd it go?
It didn't eat through the floor.
Somebody cleaned it up, but just left the little girl there.
Yeah, she's fine.
She's fine over there in the corner. I feel like every time I watch it, I notice something else a little absurd,
Very absurd. Very absurd. And I'd also like to say that Emily's house, that house looks like the house from
Interview with the Vampire.
Yes, Interview with the Vampire. I just said this like an hour ago. But anyway, it looks like the house from Interview with the Vampire, and I'd like to find out if I could see if that's actually their house. And the house I'm referring to is at the end of the movie.
Right.
When Tom Cruise is playing the piano.
And was that actually her house? Or was she just squatting there?
She had to have been. Because on top of that, it just looked like an abandoned house.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
So there's zombies.
There's zombies.
Yes. And they're the sleepy zombies because they all have their heads down and their eyes closed for some strange reason.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I said, well, maybe they were in a coma before.
Maybe they were sleepwalkers.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Now, I have said before, I am not a huge fan of zombie movies.
Right.
Because they irritate me. Because I'm like, you can get away. Holy shit, run. Cut their heads off. This is ridiculous. So when these people drive around with like their stickers on their car and they're like, I'm going to survive a zombie apocalypse. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people.
Everybody's going to survive if they're slow zombies.
Yes.
Fast zombies now.
Well, yeah.
That might be a different story. But I feel like most people would have the wherewithal to, well, maybe not most people these days.
Well, everybody seems to like The Walking Dead still, so maybe everybody's seen that shit by now.
Maybe.
Ugh, hate The Walking Dead. Anyway, so this movie is actually not a zombie movie.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure Fulci was just like, you know what?
Let's throw some zombies.
Yeah, I really feel like a little sprinkle of zombie at the end is a good thing.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anything because did the zombies go and eat all the townspeople?
Right. Maybe they could have. Maybe they blew their effects budget by then, so they're just like, yeah, zombies are easy. We don't, because you'd think Gates of Hell there'd be demons at some point or something, But they're like, we don't really have the budget for demons. Let's just have some zombies.
Yeah, we'll just throw in these guys. Much. In this movie, like I mentioned, that it's a painter at the beginning, and he is painting this amazing painting that I love, and I have tried to see if somebody has printed
like a
it.
reproduction.
Yeah, because it's so dark, and it's apparently a portrait of hell.
Right.
I don't know if there's multiple hells or it's just multiple passageways to hell, or what that means. How many doors can you have to hell? Why do you need so many doors?
That's right. That's a good question.
People have referenced that the Book of Avon has to do with actual H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and that's where Fulci got the idea for the 3 movies in this trilogy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. These are people on Reddit. Yeah,
I'm sure maybe he was inspired, but they don't strike me as being terribly Lovecraftian, these movies.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. I don't see what. I don't see it.
I mean, when I think Lovecraft, I think like Cthulhu and stuff, and I don't,
Well, yeah, they even mention Cthulhu in it, and I'm like,
or like the.
Where?
Yeah, or like the Innsmouth, like the fish people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. They don't strike me as terribly Lovecraftian, but all right,
Yeah, I really feel like that was like a really pulling it out of your ass idea.
If you guys know of an interview where Fulci ever talked about that or anything, put a link in the comments or let us know, because I'm curious about that.
I am too.
Yeah, if you can disagree with me. I don't know, but to me, they don't feel very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
When you compared to like a movie like In the Mouth of Madness, to me that feels like Lovecraft.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where these people are pulling this crap out of. People just like making things up. Like that the new Joker movie is a musical.
All right, yeah. Well, didn't you say that this was... You looked this up and it was categorized as what was a horror western?
Yeah, horror western. Probably just because Joe the plumber had that sweet accent the beginning.
He did.
I remember I had to special order this movie when I worked at CD Warehouse because it just wasn't anywhere.
Right.
Now you can watch the damn thing on Peacock.
Right.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Amazon.
I was going to say, when I first watched it was in the early 2000s when I was getting into the Italian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had bootlegged it onto YouTube at that point. There were a bunch of movies bootlegged onto YouTube back then, actually.
There was a time.
And that's where I watched a lot of stuff. And it just happened to be, I was sitting in my dorm room. I'm like, oh, look at that. So I just went down a rabbit hole, and that's how I found this movie.
And it was rad.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was rad. I mean... Yeah, it's definitely always going to be one of my favorite movies to watch. The music, I can recognize that music from a mile away.
Oh yeah,
I just love that music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is about just cheesy Italian horror scores. It just I don't know. They're good.
They are good.
They're good. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it about it. It's a great movie. It has lots of gore in it. Tacky gore in it.
Yeah.
Lots of sulfuric acid, eye gouging, apparently random zombies.
Yeah. I would say it's probably Fulci's best movie.
It is. It's actually held in one of the higher regards.
I mean, I like Zombie a lot, of course, but because that one's very absurd as well. But I think this one probably is his best. I would. Zombie is probably a close second for me.
Yeah, and see, I don't like zombie movies, so me. But yeah, I think that this one's amazing.
Yeah.
And most of the time, a corny movie is not going to give me the little heebie-jeebies.
Right.
And that scene at the end.
Oh yeah.
It just creeped me out to no end because it just felt not realistic,
Mhm.
but still like if you believed in hell.
Yeah, it's a little more plausible, like a wasteland,
Yes.
instead of like, oh, fire everywhere and stuff,
Yeah.
like
Fire. So anyway, what do you guys think of this movie? Have you
Yes.
seen it? Do you want to see it? Because you can see it anywhere now.
It's crazy how these movies that we had such a hard time finding
Yes.
are now so readily available. It's amazing.
It is amazing because you can explore so much more that's out there. Not just once again Hereditary and Midsummer.
Mm-hmm.
There's other movies
That's
out
right.
there.
Yeah, and like back in the day, like Suspiria, when I wanted to see Suspiria, I had to buy it. I had never seen it. I was just like, I want to get in. I want to learn about this stuff and get into it. I'm just going to buy this movie. And of course, I ended up loving it. And I love Argento now, of course. But yeah, it's just crazy now. Now you can just few clicks, there it is.
Did you buy it at that one store in Ames?
I did. That store was amazing.
What
Hastings.
It was
called Hastings, and you would not think, but for some reason, their horror section had all these crazy movies there. So I bought like Suspiria and Tombs of the Blind Dead and all these movies that a video store in the middle of a small town in Iowa should not have. Yet for some reason they did. Somebody there had to have been a horror aficionado. But
anyway, yeah, let us know what you think.
Yes.
And we'll once again be back next week.
Yes.
As you have noticed, maybe. Once again, that these are coming out on Friday.
Yes.
We were kind of testing some stuff out. And so I know that one came out at 10 o'clock last week. This one's going to come out later in the afternoon, as you may have noticed. We're just seeing how things work out.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out the optimal time. And, of course, if you subscribe, you'll get notified when we put out new videos and won't have to worry about figuring out what time they're going to come out.
Yes. So how do you subscribe, Josh?
You just hit that subscribe button. It's free. It helps us out, and it's a good thing to do if you like what you are seeing.
Yeah, and you want to support any YouTuber, that's the way to do it.
Yes.
So anyway, see you next week.
Bye.